So in this video, we're going to talk about the ribbons bar, which is this part of the interface here, and what's briefly, just a high-level overview, what's in each ribbon file tab as you go through it. So in your book, it has this illustration here, which is nice. And you have your file tabs, are these top parts right here. It says file, architecture, structure, etc. And as you click on each one, it opens up the ribbon. And then also underneath it is the options bar. And this sometimes is populated and sometimes is not. It just depends on the tool that you're choosing. When your book continues on and kind of talks more about each one, but we'll just kind of walk through and show you what that looks like. So your first file tab is file, and it has your standards, kind of create new, open, save as, export, etc. In Revit, you can export the file not only to PDF, but you can export it to a DWG file as well, so that it'll go to an AutoCAD version. You cannot save down a version. So for instance, in this video, we're currently in 2023. If someone is in AutoCAD 2022 or earlier, they're not going to be able to open up my AutoCAD 2023 file. And I can't save down to a lower version for them to open it. This is because there's so much connected in Revit, and it's part of what makes it easy to make changes and use is because everything's connected. So if I make a change on an elevation view, it changes it everywhere. But because of that, when they make changes, it's just, there's too much in it to save down and make it work correctly. So you can't save down a version. You can open an older version in the version you're in. So I can open up a 2022, 2021, etc. version into 2023. If you need, for instance, if I have a file that's in 2023 and you are still in Revit 2022 and you need access to that file, what we can do is do a file export as a DWG file. Then you can open that into your current file and go from there. So some of the items may be lost, but that's kind of the way to go through it. So if you get into that, just reach out and we can get that updated for you. So your next file tab is architecture. This is where you start. So this has your wall tool in it. So when I click on this, you can see it opens up, it switches to the ribbon to modify place wall ribbon, and it opens up my options line, okay? So this allows me to draw walls. I'm just gonna do this quickly. We're gonna go through in a later video everything that goes into drawing walls, okay? But so that goes through all of that. Then I want to go back to my architecture ribbon. This is also where doors are found, windows, your components. So this can be furniture, it can be lighting, it can be fixtures. Any of those kind of things are in your components. And you can see when I hover over it, it kind of gives you an idea. So it's any element in the building model. You can place columns. This is where you can draw the roof. We are not going to get into placing columns or roof lines. Those are really structural elements. So typically as an interior designer, we will not be drawing those. We will get into drawing ceilings and floors, and then curtain systems. So these are glass walls, basically. So if you have an interior wall that's glass, this curtain system, curtain grid, and mullion, those tools will allow you to create those. Again, we will not typically be placing ramps and stairs as we go through. You have your model text and then model line. If you click on this, again, it opens up another ribbon. And this gives you tools that are very similar and very familiar from AutoCAD. So with this, you can create your drawing just a 2D line from here. So if I use any of these to draw a line, it's just going to be simply a two-dimensional line. It is not going to have a three-dimensional view when I look at it. for instance, if I switch real quick to a 3D view, those walls that I drew, they're already 3D in here, but that 2D line stays as it is. You can also see when I do that, it's opened up another view tab here that I can go back and forth with what I'm looking at. So further on, this talks about creating rooms with that. The next one is structure. So again, we will not use a lot of this because this is more the structural element. So these will typically come to us from the architect or structural engineer as it's been created. Steel, precast, we do not use these. Systems are another one that we don't use. So Revit is used by architects, interior designers, mechanical engineers, plumbing engineers, electrical engineers. So a lot of this relates to them. Insert, if you need to insert like an image, a CAD file, etc. There's a lot of different items here. Annotate, so this is where the dimension tool is that in your quick access line. There are different dimension tools. Aligned is the most common. It's the easiest to use for what we work with. This is also where you can tag items. We'll get into talking about tagging doors and windows as you go through that. And also you can create keynotes here. Analyze is not an item that we will use much. It has to do more with the building information system. So view is the next tab that we will use as interior designers. And this is where your 3D view is, your section tool, and also your elevation tags are all in view. Your thin lines tool is here as well. Your schedules and your legends are all in view. Manage, you have access to materials here. Typically, we are able to work with materials, and when I say materials, think finishes. We'll work with that in the actual model, but this is where you can adjust it here. Add-ins is another one we will not get into, and then modify. This is the tab that often when you choose a tool, it will come to this, but if you need to make changes to an existing item, you can use the modify tool tab as well here. So again, you can click over each of these to see what they are and how to use them as you go through it. And even lots of times you'll see if you stay over it, Revit will show you a video of how to use it. So anytime you're not sure what something is, you can go back to that.